Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another glorious Sunday. For those of you new to the congregation, I would like to introduce myself. I am the Reverend Sylvester Graham. Many of you do not know that I was a co-founder for the American Vegetarian Society in 1850, as a matter of fact. I would like to speak to you today on how we should not judge each other by how we treat our peers, but in how we treat those lesser animals here on God's great creation. In 1817, I attended a service by the great Reverend Metcalf. He's the one that turned me on to this new fad called vegetarianism. As one of only 17 children, I grew up tending our garden. We worked in the sun. We sowed the fruits of our labor. With our bare hands, we harmed neither man nor beast. And yet we had a healthsome sustenance of the fruits of our labor. I also, later, promote the use of whole wheat flour. No bleaching, whole wheat, wholesome, straight from God's hands. The tasty snacks that add honey and cinnamon to this flour are named for me. Graham crackers. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 12, Jesus says unto the masses, "Therefore in everything do unto others as you would have done to you." And does it not say in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10, that a righteous man regardeth the life of his beasts? Again in Matthew chapter 6, verse 26, "Look at the birds in the air, that they do not sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet our heavenly Father feeds them. Does the faithful ox have a soul? Does the lumbering pig have a soul? Does the whimsical chicken, who lays eggs for our sustenance every single day, have a soul? Does not each come to our calls? Does not the chicken come to our feet as we come out the back gate with our corn spread? Does not each of these animals scream in agony if caught in a wire or some other calamity? It is true that these beings, these lesser creatures on God's great earth, does not have a soul. It does not know the meaning of the word soul. But it is also true that each does feel pain. Civilizations all over the world have touted the mental, physical, and spiritual benefits of removing meat from one's diet. The greatest thinkers in history have all been vegetarian. Leonardo da Vinci, Pythagoras, Plato. Even our very own Benjamin Franklin was a vegetarian for many years, but had to return to eating flesh due to infirmity. However, this wonderful man also brought us tofu from the soybean, a way to get protein without killing and maiming one of God's creatures in order to do so. Now here's a question for everyone to answer on their own. Would you begin to eat dog or cats? Here's a little story from my own personal experience. After I had moved out of my parents' home and gone on to university, my father decided to rent the back 2 acres to any man who needed a place to fatten his calves. His price for allowing the animals to live and eat in our meadow was half of one of the adult cows. Most of them stayed about a year, feeding from my father's own hands. He was a good man. Every morning he would go out and he would check that the cows and calves had water. In the evening, he would bring them scraps from our tables, such as vegetable scraps, the ends of carrots, onions, apples. He would even go so far as to roam our neighborhood looking for hard apples that had fallen on the ground from neighboring trees and feed these to these calves. In return, he would receive licks from their raspy tongues. He would get gentle headbutts. Each had its own personality. They would come to his call every single day. Yet, my father made no qualms as to the bargain and the price that had to be paid. At the end of a year or a year and a half, all the animals would go unto the butcher. Father knew this. And yet his favorite meal was cow's tongue. I myself could not stomach said atrocity. And to this very day, this is a personal dilemma that I wrestle with. He was a good man. Yet he ate the flesh of those same very animals that he talked to every day, that he scratched in their favorite places every day. What does this mean? That is for you to decide. In conclusion, every animal, I believe, has the ability to become domesticated, given that it is socialized to our ways of communication. Does a dog not sit and ask for food? Does a cat not meow when it wants petting or treats? The smartest men in history believed in sparing the animals and sustaining rich, flavorful lives on vegetables and spices. Do you not see Ariel's mentor, Sebastian, in every piece of crab that goes on your plate? Or see Wilbur's smiling, cute, little, fuzzy snout every time you take a bite of ham? You too can live a pure and temperate life. Forgo meat and become a vegetarian. I thank you all for coming to my service today, and I hope that you have taken something away from my sermon this morning in which to think about. I hope this concept brings you closer to perfection, as all of the civilizations in the world have embraced the vegetarian idea. So do I hope that you will also. God bless. Take care. Be pure. And be healthy.